Regan Slaymaker for International Boxing News, and I have the pleasure to be joined by the WBA interim and two-time world title challenger, Michael Conlan. Michael, how are you today, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just in Liverpool here at the minute.
Oh, nice, perfect. Well, I'm sure we'll get onto that in a minute, but I do want to get on to kind of, you've had a 6 month period out the ring at the moment as well, but you've been busy. I mean, marathons I've been seeing you doing, running as well,
Yeah,
obviously promoting as well. We've seen Lewis Crocker do it in a Fighter of the Year as well. But how has
yeah.
this period been, kind of out of the ring?
It's been good, mate. The running, shout out Road Runners Running Club because that really helped me through some probably the darkest times of my life at this stage of my life. Um, and yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard. The running's been hard, but it's been good. And I finally says, "Zip, hang them shoes up. I just gotta get back to boxing now." So I've been doing the promoting. I've been doing my own beer, and everything is going in the right direction. So I'm happy enough.
Definitely, mate. I want to talk about that running. I mean, we arranged this interview whilst I was on a run myself, so it feeds in
Yeah.
quite well. But kind of what kind of benefits did you have joining the Roadrunners Running Club as well, kind of, and how has it kind of brought you back into boxing?
Um, I obviously I said after my last fight that I didn't know if I was going to fight again. I was like, nah, fuck that. I always said I done Brighton half marathon 2023 February, and I done it in an hour 24 with no training and 4 hours sleep. So I was like, you know what? Because the kind of rule of thumb is you double your half marathon time and add 10 minutes, but that's obviously for experienced runners. So I says I'll break sub 3 hour marathon in my first marathon. And obviously, some people laughed at me. So I was like, I'll do a marathon when I'm finished. So in my head, I was half going, I don't know if I'm going to go again. Fuck it, I need to do something, or I'll go crazy at home. Um, because I just need to be busy. I always need to be busy. And I ended up joining the club and doing about 800 miles from mid-December till April. And the training was hard. I mean, I lost every bit of muscle in my body almost. I looked so skinny and so light. I was like walking around at like fucking 140, which is really late for me. And I was going, what's going on here? I was just falling apart in terms of my muscle, but I was obviously getting good miles in and up at 6 in the morning, training through the winter in the pissing rain, the cold weather, doing 20 miles up and down hills, 18 miles, 22 miles, all these big massive runs. Obviously, the road runners are like kind of known for sub 3 hour marathon pace kind of runners. So um that's why I says I'll go to them guys and just kind of get into it, try and do what I says I would do the year before. But you're alone when you're on the roads. Even when you're with people, you're alone. You're in your head a lot, and you have plenty of time alone. And I'm not someone who likes to be in my head a lot and be alone a lot. So, um, it was hard, and you went through things, and everything was just went on over the last kind of year. Um, Obviously, just going through it and through it and through it, and delving through things and getting to the bottom of things, and kind of free myself mentally from a lot of shit that's happened. So yeah, that was the biggest benefit of it. And then I ran a marathon 2:55. So yeah, it's not bad if I say so myself.
No, I mean, you've absolutely smashed that, mate, and I won't bring up any of my running times because I feel like you'll laugh at me. But yeah, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong. Has this been the longest period you've kind of had out of a boxing ring, like in your entire career?
Ever, ever, ever. My whole since I'm 7 years of age, the longest. It was the longest I was ever out of a gym. I didn't go back and hit a boxing bag, or even shadow box until the end of May.
Wow.
End of May. So it's kind of like a clean start, a fresh start. Have to build up everything again. Had to get my muscle back and all that. And that's the kind of first full month of kind of work I done was just like boxing, hitting the bags, hitting a few pods and lifting weights and getting strong again, just get my body back into the right condition.
Definitely, mate. Obviously, you've obviously, as you mentioned, you're in Liverpool at the moment. You're back training again. I saw an interview with Andy Purrawell. Obviously, you mentioned kind of three trainers that kind of you were flirting with. Obviously, you mentioned you're in Liverpool now, so I imagine Stephen Smith's one of those. You mentioned Grant Smith
Yeah.
and Buddy McGirt as well. I mean, how is this process going, and kind of What in particular about those three guys have impressed you the most?
Um, just their mindset of coaching and their kind of ethos in coaching, how they do things. Buddy has probably one of the best eyes in boxing which I've seen, and is a fantastic coach. Stephen has kind of had the same path as me in a sense. Challenged for the world title twice, come up short, and you know, actually wasn't trying to train around, but was just saying, just make sure you take your time before you make any decisions because you don't want to be like him and get to his age and go, fuck me, I should have rolled the dice another time. Um, but Stephen kind of obviously has been there, done it, and been in the same shoes as me, his technical side of things and his sight on boxing and his mindset on boxing, what he sees and stuff is fantastic. Grant again, another fantastic coach. Very, very knowledgeable, very understanding of styles and particularly my style of how I fight. I'm very fitted. But also how he is as a man, as a person as well, is unbelievable. And I've the utmost respect for all three coaches. I haven't made a decision yet. I seen Boxing Scene or one of them, but one of them outlets yesterday said that I've chose Buddy, but I haven't chose nobody yet. I'm taking some time before I make a decision. I've seen all the guys once. I'm here to see Stephen the second time. I'll go and see Grant next week. Buddy's in America. I'm not going over to America to do a week's training or anything. So I'm going to have another look at these two coaches while I'm here and while I'm home, and then I'm not going to even rush in the decision. Not going to give a date on the decision, but hopefully, I'll have everything in place and start training in September.
Definitely, and then
Proper training.
not nice. Okay, like because I was confused about that boxing scene article as well. I kind of was kind
Yeah,
of
it baffled me. It baffled me, and I think the guy who done the interview, I'm not sure who it was, but I think he's probably led Buddy to believe that I've made the decision, and because Buddy had seen the interview that I've made the decision, but I would assume it was more so the reporter giving him the thing that like he shows you what's going on. He's just rolled with it in the interview, and that's understandable. But I haven't made no decisions. No.
no, definitely. I feel like boxing being boxing, unless you hear it from the horse's mouth, don't believe it as well. You
Yeah.
mentioned in that interview with Andy, kind of obviously the last fight was at super feather, but you mentioned that featherweight could still potentially be a possibility as well.
But no, featherweight's 100% possibility. The only reason that fight was a super feather was because I think Gill was moved up the super feather and the fight was put to us and it was 8 weeks out when it was announced, 6 weeks of actual training. I was like, oh, it saves me having to cut the extra few pounds. It'll be easy enough. 4 pounds a lot of weight when you're a later guy. So I was like, oh, it saves me. But to be honest, I probably could have made featherweight for that fight because it was that easy. It was I was that late. So, it's no problem. Featherweight is where I'll be and where I'll stay. I'm a natural featherweight. I'm a big featherweight, but I'm a natural featherweight and I make it comfortably enough. I never really struggled to make featherweight. 122, I struggled to make. That was hard. But like it collapsed when I was making 122, I fainted when I was doing that. That was and I mean it was the easiest I've probably made weight, but it was just them last 2 pounds just took it out of me. And it was like I was in the bath and I was getting into the bath, I was like, I'm gonna go here, lads. And the nutritionist and my physio and S&C coach. Um they both let me down, had me fucking covered in ice packs and stuff. That was before the Baulta fight actually. So yeah, it was me going, nope, 122 ain't it.
Wow, I was going to ask if that was a Baluta fight. I mean, shows how good you are, Michael, because you won that fight and won it fairly clearly as well. But
Yeah.
the things you don't know kind of about the sport and how you guys cut weight as well.
It's crazy. And that fight, scored a majority decision. I think Bob Williams scored the draw, and I'm going, watch the fight back and look at the punch stats, and you're going, yeah, he made it through loads of punches, but I think he only landed like 15% or something like that of all them punches he threw, and I think I'd landed something like 38 or something like that. So I had a high punch connection ratio, and his was horrendous. But like this is the thing, yeah, I don't even want to get into judging stuff now because it's a mad world, and I feel that judges should be held accountable and have to do interviews and give reasons why they've scored a fight a certain way. Um, just look at Taylor Catchall one, and there's many, many more, and you go, okay, listen, why was it scored these type of ways? What did you see that the other person didn't see? So, yeah,
No, definitely. I feel like even with Robson Conceição on the weekend, even if you look at the boxing news app,
crazy.
no one, even if they're not
Yeah,
professional, no one scored it
that
to
but
him as well.
I didn't watch the fight, but I seen the thing. 100% of the people give it to O'Shaq Foster. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's
Boxing's
crazy.
just it's a muggy world. It's a dirty world, and things happen which shouldn't happen. They obviously had saying Conceição, top rank had obviously saying Conceição, and from the Olympics he was gold medalist, and they're brilliant. They delivered people world titles, and
Mm.
fortunate enough for them, they delivered them a world title, and unfortunate for Shaq Foster that he gets screwed.
No, definitely. I feel like we could have a whole podcast about scoring in boxing, Michael. So I'm gonna try and bring it back to you as well.
Yeah.
But so obviously you mentioned kind of that you're not putting any deadline on picking the trainers and stuff. Are we talking kind of the first quarter of next year on a potential return, or are you just playing it by ear for the time being?
And a by year, listen, it could be at earliest the end of the year. Or maybe the first quarter of next year. I'm easy, man. I'm not rushing. Just I'm 32, but I'll be 33 this year. But just look at Anto Kakachi going to win the world title at 35. It's not impossible. I know I have the ability to do it. I just need to make sure I do everything correctly. That's why I'm not rushed. It's not about it. It's not about him. I live a clean lifestyle. Um, I'm not a big drinker. I don't smoke. I don't take any drugs. So like, it's not like and my commitment in the gym is always 110%. I've given my whole life to boxing and being 100% on everything. I have a good partner at home who looks after everything at home for me when I'm away in training camp. And I don't take no shortcuts at all. Like the last one, with everything going on at the same time, it's probably the reason I went to America, and it was kind of rushed, you know. So that was probably the only fight where I went stupid, but it is what it is. You live with you live with the consequences after the decision you make. So it is, yeah,
No, definitely. Well, we're all looking forward to your ring return, Michael. It's fair to say as well. Let's talk about the promoting side of things now. I mean,
yeah,
where else to start with Conlan boxing but Lewis Crocker? I mean, fight of the year with Conor Walker. I mean, and then potentially
uh,
setting up a massive fight with Paddy Donovan, which is fair to say will be huge for the whole island of Ireland as well.
yeah, yeah. It'll be massive. A great fight. Listen, I've always said how good Paddy is, and I've always raved about Paddy, but I just think Lewis is just the bigger, better man. And a technical side, Paddy Donovan probably has the edge over him, but I don't think Crocker's even showed his technical ability yet. He just shows his brute strength and his will to win. And I said before, I done an article before, and in an interview I said about I think Conor Walker is actually a harder fight for Crocker stylistically than Donovan. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be a great fight. He had everything on his plate with Conor Walker. He was just coming and throwing every single thing you could at him. But if you look at that fight and turn the punditry off or the commentary off, how much punches he actually landed. Loads, like for the first half of the fight, most punches that Walker was throwing was all in the gloves. Um, and Crocker was landing the bigger eye-catching punches throughout the round, landing more cleaner punches throughout the round, and I had him winning by 2 rounds. It was a close fight because Walker worked his ass off, but in terms of the damage being done and the cleaner punching and the more eye catching shots, I think Crocker won by a landslide in that sense. But you can't you can't doubt Conor Walker's will to win and drive and fitness and strength to get through them and chin to take the shots he was taking with. So, big credit to him and fair play to him. And I'm sure the rematch will be done down the lane. But in my opinion, the next fight for Crocker has to be Paddy Donald.
Definitely as well. I spoke to Paddy kind of after the fight, and he said that it's the biggest fight of all time in Ireland, and make it so. Do you think you agree with that?
No,
No.
no. They're both Crocker is a big name now, but Paddy Donovan's not a big enough name to say it's one of the biggest All Irish fights. I need to think of All Irish fights to name a few, but I'm sure there's been bigger ones in the past.
No, definitely as well. And obviously you signed a management deal with Pierce O'Leary, and you've got also a massive show kind of August the 3rd as well. I'm sure
Yeah,
Tyron McKenna's buzzing for that one as well. But just kind of round
yeah.
off kind of the rest of this year for Conlan boxing as well, mate.
Been fantastic year. No, Shane Pierce is a huge coup for us. It's someone who I've wanted to sign since, he became a free agent after the downfall when NTK closed down. Um, I wanted Pierce out of all of them. I says he's the one we need to get. And unfortunately for us at that stage, he went with Francis Warren, but France has done a good job with him over that year, and now he's free, and we've got him, and I'm delighted because I believe in him. I've always believed in him since his pro debut. Man, he went in against a Nicaraguan who I think has beat some prospects already throughout his career, and you know he's dangerous, and he comes to win, and he came to win, and it was just a war, and I'm going, this kid is in his debut, and he is going and fighting like this instead of playing it safe and being smart. He just went to war and went to try to take the guy's head off, and it was class to see. I remember seeing after that. I believe he goes really far, and now we've seen him. I'm delighted because even look at his last performance against Darfolia. I credit Darfolia for being such a tough man, but Pierce actually won that fight, and I didn't know this until after the fight. He had food poisoning. They got food poisoning the night before the weigh after the night of the weigh-in. Three of the guys of the team all had the spaghetti bolognese in one of the Italian places in Belfast, and all got food poisoning. So Pierce was throwing up and being sick in the change rooms before the fight even went on. He didn't say nothing. The guy is Clark Kent, man. He's just like has the glass on, quiet, takes the glass off. He's just an animal, Superman, and he's just a lovely boy who can really fight. And Harry, what the performance he had against R. Foley, I haven't really seen much people have that type of performance. Probably bar Jack Carroll against Foley. Um, he's a man who comes to win. Man with massive heart, massive balls, and just goes to war every single time. And Pierce looked fantastic, and I believe he has more gears to go through. If the food poison wasn't there, who knows? He probably could have got him out of there and been the first one to do it. But you know, things happen which are out of our control, and that was out of his control. He didn't know he was going to get that, and I still thought he performed beautifully and put on an amazing performance, in Belfast. So big things to come for Pierce. I hope we can get him back to Dublin. I hope Frank and George and Francis and all the team at Queensberry will do a show in Dublin because the kid is a star who needs to be built more in his hometown. Belfast is in Ireland, yes, but let's be honest, he needs to be in Dublin where he's from because he like even in Belfast, I think he sold like 350 tickets. Going, that's massive. Like, he was like Conor Quinn was the main event, and I think Pierce had sold probably near double the tickets. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, he's a great boy, and I'm really proud. I'm really happy for him. And same with Lewis. Lewis is a star for Belfast, and if him and Donovan fight, if it's in Belfast, you're guaranteed to see out at the SSC. And what a kid! And as long as he keeps his feet in the ground and keeps his focus and keeps working hard and being dedicated, he can go really far. He can go all the way.
No, definitely as
And that
well.
goes for that goes for Pierce too. That goes for Pierce too.
Definitely as well. I remember speaking to Pierce after his fight in Birmingham, and I said Dublin's kind of crying out for the new headline slot, and he said he basically stuck it on me a little bit and said I am the headline slot, and I've never wanted to wrap up an interview so quickly. But fair play to Pierce, great performance in Belfast as well. And I just want to get your word, Michael, on the August 3 show. I mean, Tyron
Yeah,
McKenna gets his rematch with Mohamed Mimoune, which I
yeah.
hear Mohamed Mimoune for the last couple of years has been absolutely berating Tyron McKenna and his team
Yeah.
until this rematch has been announced.
He has, and when Tyrone says he wants to come back, because Tyrone says he was finished, that was it. That was finished for him after Crocker. He says, "No, I want to go again." And he says, "Okay, who we want?" And we're named a few opponents, and he says, "No, I want Mamoon." And you're going, "Really? You want to fight him after? You got the order against him in the gun contract in a close fight, which could have went either way." And he's no, I want him. He's been giving me too much shit. I need him. So it's like, okay, me and Jimmy we talked to it and says, okay, let's do it then. And Tyrone wants it, it can be done. And, it's great he's getting the hell in the SSC for the first time in his career. And, I'm delighted for him because he's just a man with huge heart and huge balls and huge will to win. And, that August 3rd is just going to be a hell of a night because those two guys will put everything on the line and they'll probably leave very sore, but, hopefully, it's a fantastic night and Tyrone's becomes away victorious.
Definitely, and a stacked night as well with a lot of Conlan boxing fighters on there as well. Michael, that
Yeah.
was my final question, mate. Have you got any final words, kind of, for the fans eagerly anticipating your return, mate?
No, no, just I'll be back and I'll be world champion is all I have to say.
Perfect. That's a perfect place to end. Michael Conlan, thank you very much, mate. And yeah, looking forward to catch up in person soon.
Yes, Regan, speak this soon, mate.
Cheers, mate. Take care.